an interesting topic on having your own local chatbot which runs on your machine and connects to different LLMs like the OpenAI and the Gemini one. And if you can see, as a user, you give some messages and it does give its response based on the different LLMs it connects. So today's video you could consider into three parts. First is how do you get the API keys to connect with these LLMs, right? That's what first we will try to understand. Second is the code base on the libraries and tools to connect with these LLMs and create your own web interface. Finally, a use case of a design pattern for using these LLMs recently, which has been discovered, is called self-reflection, or giving the LLMs an opportunity to talk and improve themselves. So these are the three areas we are going to cover today. And to get the API key, it's very straightforward. For OpenAI, you go to their website and come to API keys, generate a key. Do not share your key with anybody. You can use it by putting it in your local code base. You need a subscription for using OpenAI key. Maybe you can have a prepaid balance of $5 and use a free model. So there are different models for each of this. The latest one would be a paid model, but if you use the 3.5 turbo, it's free. Same is the case with Google. You go to Google's website and generate your own key. As per my understanding, right now they don't charge for their LLMs using the key. But I could see there is some description about starting pricing for calling these APIs. Now, as we got the key, the second step is to set up your local infrastructure. And basically here there's a config.py where I have given the API keys. Okay. Now after the keys, the first thing I did was create an interface or an abstract class on how to interact with the LLM, so that if you have more LLMs, everybody would implement this. Basically, all the LLMs should implement this class and always provide back a response. Right, that's done. Now coming to the OpenAI one, the code base is straightforward. In the initial or the instructor or the constructor, you will create a model of their library. So they provide their own library to interact with their APIs and pass in the API key which you have stored here. Right. The second part is the model you want to use and the prompt. So prompt is going to be given by the class which is calling these LLMs, right? And we will see two examples of how to call this class. And like we said, there would be a get response where you pass in the message, it does the calculation and give you back the response. Similarly for Gemini, the library is provided by Google. You will have your own model created here by passing the key, and the same get response where you pass the response, a request, and it will give back you a text which is generated. And the two examples we said, the first example is simple chatbot where you have a UI and the library we are using is called Streamlit. It provides a wonderful UI interface for us to have a chatbot. And once you select the chatbot, you can ask any questions and it will respond. So this is the prompt I have given for both of them. Your intelligent chatbot and will provide short answers. So the first example is here. Imagine you, what do you want? Write a song about a bug. And OpenAI's API would be called and it will send back a song. So that's the first use case. The second use case, which was more interesting, is called reflections, and it's based on this paper, wherein what they have found out is if you make these LLMs in a loop, kind of one generates a response, another gives back a feedback, they can improve. So that's called reflection. So if you can see here, the feedback keeps on coming and it refines its response, right? Here they are suggesting about using one LLM for this, but here for our use case, because we have to, OpenAI's one would be generating the code and the Gemini one would be giving the feedback. Coming down, so the example use case they have given is generate sum from 1 to n. So let's use this one. And yeah, I have already tried it. Basically, once you give this, so what it does is first it generates a simple sum function which is in Python, right? Now that goes as an input to Gemini as a reviewer, and if you see, it says a simple suggestion to improve the code is to use a descriptive variable name. So rather than using n, use a better name, right? Then OpenAI comes back and says, hey, okay, how about upper bound as a name for the variable? Then Gemini says, you didn't add a doc. Here is an example of a doc you can add. Then OpenAI says, hey, that's great, let me add the doc. So this way you could keep iterating and you can decide how many iterations you want to go. And in as per the paper, let me show you that. Here, if you can see, they are seeing significant improvement after self refined feedback, right? So the code also around 8.2% improvement. That's the basic idea, and there are different other use cases for running your LLMs locally. I hope you all try it out. The code base will be pushed to GitHub, and here you can play around with how many times they should iterate, and giving different prompts. Okay, thank you.